The silence of the old house was broken only by the ticking of the living room clock, marking each second like a hammer hitting a coffin. Eduardo stopped in front of the bedroom door at the end of the hallway, the only one that always remains locked. His fingers hesitated on the doorknob, the aged and cracked wood seeming to breathe under his touch. "Don't open that door, boy." His grandmother's warning echoed in his mind, uttered in a fearful message years ago, shortly before she died. But now, alone in that inherited house, curiosity was stronger than fear. The key was in his pocket, heavy, rusty, as if it had been forged to lock something much worse than a simple room. He took a deep breath and turned the key in the lock. The click was followed by a sigh, coming from the other side. Something inside knew he was there. The first touch. The room was pitch black, the air thick and musty. Eduardo reached for the light switch when something cold slid against his fingers. He closed it and stepped back, bumping into the door, which slammed shut behind him, locked. The air grew heavier as if the room were shrinking, and then, from the darkest corner, a whisper. Finally! Something moved in the darkness. Not a mouse, not an insect. Something that crawled erratically, as if its bones did not obey the laws of nature. Eduardo pounded on the door, screaming for help that he knew would not come. After all, the house was empty, or at least it should have been. The pact. The voice came from all sides now, whispering in a language that hurt his ears. "Do you think this door was locked to keep me in?" A laugh cut through the air, wet and sharp. "It was to keep you out." Something wrapped around his ankle, cold, slimy, and began to pull him toward the center of the room, where the darkness was thickest. Eduardo grabbed the doorknob, his nails digging into the rotten wood, but the door would not open, because now it was not locked from the outside. He was the one trapped inside. The awakening? The next morning, the house dawned in silence. The door to the room at the end of the hallway stood open, empty, except for a sweet, rotten smell hanging in the air and a single message scrawled on the wall in a handwriting that was not human. "Thank you for visiting. Come back soon." And then, in the hallway, the sound of shuffling footsteps began again, this time coming toward the living room. 50 years later, the moving truck stopped in front of the abandoned house. Daniel, Eduardo's great-grandson, looked at the decaying building as he adjusted his camera. "Great setting for my documentary about haunted places," he thought, ignoring the nervous glances of the movers. The door to the hallway was still there, locked. Night 1. The signs. "Did you hear that?" Daniel asked the cameraman, pointing to the dark hallway. A slow, scratching sound came from behind the door. Scratch, scratch, like nails on wood. The cameraman, Marcos, lowered his equipment. "Man, this is not normal. In the village, they say that your great-grandfather—" A violent thud cut off his sentence. The door shook in the frame as if something huge had thrown itself against it. The live broadcast on YouTube exploded with comments. "Editing. Fake. Bro, there's something behind the door." Daniel smiled. "Best take of the night." He didn't see the shadow that stretched across the floor, licking at his feet like black smoke. Night 2. The mistake. Curiosity overcame fear. Daniel found the same rusty key in the kitchen drawer, exactly as in Eduardo's diaries. "Today, we will find out the truth," he announced to the 20,000 people watching live. The key turned with a dramatic creak. The room was empty. "What an anticlimax," someone commented in the chat. That was when Marco screamed. The camera fell, capturing a shaky image. The walls were breathing, and in the corner, written in what looked like dried blood, was, "Eduardo has come home." The feed went dead. Night 3. The new inhabitant. The police found the equipment abandoned, the camera's battery drained to its last percentage. In the recovered footage, the detectives watched in horror the last 3 minutes. Daniel, with his back to the camera, talking to someone just out of frame. "Grandpa, how did you?" A gruff voice replied in unison with the whispers of the original recording from 50 years ago. The room was never empty, grandson. Just waiting for the next heir.